Still smudging us.
Hello, everyone. We are
Hello.
live. So glad to be here on this beautiful, well, it's not really beautiful. It's actually really crummy weather outside, but it's beautiful in here. Tuesday. I'm so excited to be here with the one and only ephphathaoracle, aka Beth. And we'll introduce Beth in a moment. I am so excited to also see, of course, Wonderful Soul Tribe in the chat. Hello, Corbin. Thank you, as always, for supporting us in the chat. Hello, Emma. So good to see you. We've got a great show for you tonight. We are talking all about house energy work, and I have worked with Beth myself. Corbin and I have, and so excited to share what she has to offer with y'all, learn a little bit more and share a little bit more about house energy work, hear Beth's story, and get into all of that. We're going to share a little bit about our experience as well with Beth. But before we do, I want to remind you guys that we have just a couple more days until the gratitude event, the community free event that I'm offering. Make sure you go and grab your ticket beforehand. That's going to be on Saturday, the 29th, 7 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a great time. And further out, because that is coming up fast and we're going to blink and it'll be the end of the year, I have my next workshop planned for December 13th. So that's 7 p.m. Eastern. That'll be a couple weeks from now on a Saturday. And this is going to be a really fun one. I am planning on giving us some space to community share. I'll be planning a little bit of activities for us to do, and as well as a guided meditation to help connect you with the fairies. And I think it's just going to be really fun. I know a lot of people in this soul tribe, in this community, already resonate with the fairy energy. And I thought it would be a fun way to end up the year offering this workshop for you guys. So it's going to be real fun. Grab your ticket at on my bookings page, and it's going to be a real fun time. Okay, enough about that. Hi, Beth. Welcome to the show.
Oh, Jake, thank you for having me. What an honor to be here.
The honor is ours. You want to start by just introducing yourself, telling the audience any little bit about you, and then we'll dive into the show for today.
Sure. So I'm ephphathaoracle, or some of you know me as Beth, and my background is in nursing first, and then teaching, and then I worked in teacher training, and then I moved into energy work and energy medicine, which is kind of where I live now. So that's what brings me here tonight. It's been a long path of healing work and teaching, and then more healing work with the energy medicine. And one aspect of that is why I'm here tonight, which is to share with all of you the energy work that I do around homes and around property and around possessions and belongings and things like that that can support you in your journey and help to clean and cleanse and clear and support another area of your life. And as I shared with Jake earlier, we're coming into the holidays, right? And so we clean the house for our holidays. We clean the bathroom, we clean the kitchen, we do all the things, we get ready for company, we clean the bedroom, we get new sheets, we do all the things. But do we clear the energy? Do we clean the energy? Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of part of why I'm here tonight, is to talk about, as we approach the holidays, and you have guests coming, maybe you want to clear space, clear the energy, and prepare for them, not just your home, but a space for them or a space for you, or any number of things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's right in line with the season. And I think that, like you said, it's not always the thing that we think about first, or especially when things get hectic and you've got to bake a bunch of stuff or you got a meal to cook. I feel like it's easy to forget this step or to have to do it. And so both introducing Beth to you guys, sharing a little bit about her story, how her and I connected, but then also giving you guys some practical tools and tips for why this is important. We are planning a little show to do in December as well for you guys, and that'll be more focused on the practical side of things, showing you guys a little bit more of how you can do this work yourself, because it's not only about what we as practitioners can offer you. There's so much that you can do yourself, and energy work is something that I think can be daunting to folks and can feel you can feel unsure, especially if you've never done anything like that before. And so excited to have ephphathaoracle here to illuminate things for us and to share a little bit more. So, hello, Jody. So good to see you here. Thanks for joining us. And yes, Corbin, indeed. Love the idea of clearing the energy, especially after we host. Because yeah, Corbin and I love to host. We love to have people over, and it's an easy thing to forget about, is clearing out that old energy. Oh, hello, Pumpkin Spice Princess. Good to see you too. I keep energies cleared for me, rarely have company. I clean the energy off of others. Good job. You are on it. You are on it.
Absolutely.
Well, and I'm sure there's plenty of people in this tribe that do focus on this thing and do remember that for sure. But yeah, let's dive into it. So Beth, I think a good place to start, well, I guess I'll say how I met you, because that will segue us into your story. So first met Beth in the chats on a couple different channels here, and we ended up connecting. And originally, when I reached out to Beth, she had offered pet energy clearing or energy work, and I was like, well, I don't have like a specific need necessarily, but also there are things that I'd be interested. So let me just talk to Beth. Let me see what she's got to offer. Let's get into it. And so we ended up meeting, and through the course of our conversation decided that actually I think we need to work together on the house energy work instead. As some of you know, Corbin and I have been in the process and planning stages of moving for quite some time now. And this was definitely a moment where we felt the need for a little extra support from outside of ourselves. And Beth popped up at just the right moment. And as those things do, the synchronicities aligned. And so we started to work together. So we'll share a little bit more about that in a bit. Beth, do you want to start by kind of telling people just a little bit about how you got into this work? I know you mentioned kind of the different stages of your journey and your development. If you want to just give us a little bit of a story there, a narrative on how you got to here, and what are those kind of key moments that formed you into this person we see before us.
So it's hard to pinpoint exact moments, but as a nurse for many, many years, and I came into nursing kind of accidentally. I grew up in a generation where you did what you were told, and my mother told me I was going to go be a nurse. And so I ended up being a nurse. My mother was a nurse. There were many nurses in my family. And so I grew up around that. I grew up around healing and the healing arts and the hospital world and all of the things. And I think my first experience in healthcare was I was a candy striper. If anybody knows what a candy striper is, most of you might even be too young to know what a candy striper was, but you were kind of like a little volunteer, and they called you a candy striper because you wore this red and white striped little outfit way back in the day. And you were running around the hospital kind of being a volunteer. So it would be your modern day take as a volunteer. So you had a little bit of training, and then you were taught to do certain things, right? So that was how I started out. So my mother baptized me into that world very early. She had me helping her take care of people in their homes for a while I was still in high school. So that was my inception into that. What I didn't know at the time was how much energy work I was doing and was tapped into, and how my intuitive gifts were being developed through that process of being a nurse and being involved with patients and having to read between the lines so much and figure out what they were not telling me most of the time. If they were having symptoms or something and they weren't able to articulate it or whatever the case was. So I learned how to develop and fine tune those sensory mechanisms, I guess, of mine very, very early. And so I did that for years. And then I had an opportunity to teach. And my father was a teacher. So I ended up in teaching. And I found that teaching came very naturally to me. and I enjoyed it. And I liked seeing the light bulbs go on for my students. And I spent some time in the high school setting, and then I spent some time teaching in the college setting. And so that all kind of came to a head during the pandemic. And without getting into all that, there were choices that I needed to make, and there were ideologies that the place I worked had about how that should go. And we didn't see eye to eye. So I left. And so I spent some time then really digging into the energy work. I had had a fascination for energy work for many years, probably at least 20 years now. I've been exploring it, different things, Jinsen Jitsu, Reiki, myofascial release, just different. There were many different energy avenues that I had explored or dabbled in here, dabbled in there. And so when I had the downtime without being in a formal work situation for a little while, I started to really dig in. So I did some work in Sedona. I went out, I did some extensive training there. I did some energy work up in the mountains. We did some hiking, and it was a very profound experience for me, which opened up a whole new space, a whole new way of thinking, a whole new way of approaching my life and doing things, and approaching people, and approaching healing, and approaching my own family. And so many things. That was kind of like a domino, probably, experience. And then I went to Teotihuacan in Mexico and had more experiences there. And so there was a period of time there, a couple of years, where I was having many experiences. I went and experienced a couple sweat lodges, and so I was kind of mixing up what I was doing, sound therapy and all kinds of things. And so what that has come to kind of coagulate as now is this energy work that seems to permeate just about everything I do now. So I did work with, oh, hi, Emma. There's Emma. It's good to see you, Emma. Sorry to interrupt. But
you interrupted yourself. You're fine.
Yeah, I interrupted myself. So all of these experiences have kind of come into this network of my own of energy experiences. And the one that I shared with Jake and Corbin had to do with their home and property and that sort of thing. But it isn't limited to that. There's so much more, I guess, that we can do. And I'll just share a quick example, because I had asked Corbin before the show if it was okay to work on his chair, and maybe we will later if we have time. But the chair that Jake is sitting in, I actually did energy work on some months ago and embedded some specific energies and frequencies into his chair for him. And tonight I asked Corbin that if we had time on the show, maybe we would do a quick thing and embed some energies into Corbin's chair. So I just wanted to say it has evolved into kind of many facets and many different ways of doing energy work. I work on my son routinely. I work on other people doing Reiki at a distance routinely. So it's many things. But the house energy work is fascinating and has been probably one of the greatest joys for me, because I've seen such amazing things happen.
Well, do you want to share one of those examples of one of those amazing things, or should we talk? Is this a good point to talk about like our experience together?
Let's talk about our experience together. I mean, there's many things I could share. Let's start with ours.
Sure. Yeah, what Emma was saying about our individual processes bringing us together, I think that that's one of the most important things that we are called to remember is all of the different paths home. I feel like when you're in spiritual circles, especially as a practitioner, like there can be a lot of like competition of like, oh, well, my modality is better than your modality, and well, can your modality do this? Well, I do this, and that can do this, and it's just like this one-upping of what the modality can do, whether it be Reiki or acupuncture or hypnosis or tarot, it can definitely get a little gross there. But I think the more that we can remember the ways that all of these different modalities and techniques and ways of thinking are different paths to the same place. And I think there can be those moments where the differences can seem, bigger than they are. But I think especially within the spiritual community, we need to pull together and remember that we're all on the same mission. Even if we have different opinions or different ideas about how that mission should be accomplished. I don't know, that was just something that I was thinking about. And especially when you were talking about, your unique blend of energy work, I feel like every practitioner, if they're a good practitioner, is going to blend things in their own unique way. They're going to bring that energy through their own frequency and their own lens. And I think that's what's beautiful about it. And that's, in my opinion, what eliminates the need for that competition mindset. It's like there could be two hypnotists who practice like the same modality in the same room. Doesn't mean that everyone in that room is going to resonate with only one or the other. I mean, that's why we are all called to do things in our own way, because those who resonate with us will find us. I mean, I was just talking about this today with another friend.
No,
But anyway,
I couldn't agree more, because I think that we're all unique individuals. And so we can't expect that any one modality is going to work for everyone. That wouldn't even make any sense, right?
mm-hmm.
It's just like having these differing ideologies, whether it's political or religious or whatever. Why does it matter? I mean, one thing is not going to be right for everyone. We can't expect that.
Mm-hmm.
But yet we've been socialized to think we should expect that. And it's really, when you take a step back and you think about that, we should want to have layers and layers and layers of things and layers of modalities and many different people practicing the same thing, because everyone's going to come at it from a different angle and a different perspective. And that's what builds that beautiful, complex, woven fabric of any modality, is all the different practitioners.
Mm-hmm.
So, I can remember early in my spiritual journey thinking, why would they do that? But then as I've evolved, I thought, oh, wow, it's cool that they did that, because
Mm-hmm.
now I see it as, thank goodness we have such different perspectives and layers and complexity, because there's a dish for everybody. There's a dessert for everybody that they're going to just love, right? And we don't have to worry about that. And I think I'm at an age too where I just can't deal with the competition. Like, I'm just over it. It's like, it's time to sing Kumbaya or something. I don't know. It's the competition just seems ridiculous to me anymore. I don't know. Maybe that's an age thing. I don't want to date myself.
Well, I mean, I'm there too. I don't know if it's necessarily an age so much as just a stage in the journey, or, there's experiences and lessons to be had in the competition mindset, right? So,
True that.
can't necessarily fault people for going that direction if that's the direction their soul wants to go. But yeah, I'm not necessarily interested in it anymore. Especially when I got out of the corporate world, I was like, I just don't want to do this. And
No.
I get like setting goals and like that sort of a vibe, but the cutthroat competition just not for me. And yeah, Pumpkin Spice Princess, it's maturity, she says. I love that. There we go. And yeah, the beauty is in all the difference and acceptance of it all. Indeed. I love it. Okay, so our experience. I'll be honest, I went to look for like our notes, because we met with Beth a couple times over the course of couple months, 3 months,
Mhm.
maybe.
Probably about that. Mm-hmm.
And so we had taken notes, at our meetings, and as we went through this process together, the notes are nowhere to be found. So we're operating off of memory here, which is not always the most there's a lot going on these days, y'all. I don't know about you, but Corbin and I talk often about how we feel like we have 3 days in one. And I feel like when we worked together, Beth, it was like 2 decades ago at least. And it
Mm.
was literally earlier this year. So time is but a construct. But what I do remember is, so we met, we talked about our goals, and for us, we were planning on moving. And so we were trying to understand if there was anything locking us here or holding us here, if there was anything that the house needed from us. Um, right, Corbin? It feels so long ago. We were trying to determine what, if anything, was holding us here, because we had tried and tried and tried to move, and now here we are a year later and we still haven't moved. But at this point, we're much more trusting of why we're here. But we met, we talked about our goals, and then you worked on our house, and you worked on it while we left. And so that was an interesting part of the process that I didn't necessarily anticipate. But then when you explained it, I was like, oh, that makes sense. That our energy can affect things, and we can also be affected by the energy of the work that you do. And so we put the cats in one room, and we ended up leaving the house for the hour that Beth worked on our house. And it was not what we expected in such the best way. So I want to talk more about like what came, a little bit of what came through, and what we experienced. Beth, anything that I've missed thus far, or is that feel accurate?
No, it was, we did a 3-part process. We met before, we talked about what you wanted to do and what your concerns were. And then I remember you left and I did some work. And then I think there was a separate time where I worked on the outside and you were there because you were dealing with the trees, and we were working with the tree spirits too when you had the trees that had to be taken down. And then we debriefed afterward. And that was the first part. That was about your current home. And then we did a future home piece, which was really fascinating. But I think for me, the most fascinating thing was meeting Esmerelda, Miss Esmerelda.
Yeah. Oh, truly. And like Corbin said, working with Beth helped to expand his views and my views on how we interact with the physical world around us. Because, I think especially for folks in the spiritual lane, many of you watching the show probably have an awareness of, the soul essence of the animals that we interact with, probably even the trees and the plants. But I don't think that we as often think about the so-called non-conscious physical objects around us, whether that be our home, or whether that be our cars or our electronics or our pillow, our bed. These objects that we don't see as conscious in the same way, and they do have a different consciousness. But this process really helped us to understand that there is so much more going on, with not only like our relationship with these objects, but I mean we'll start with Esmeralda, like connecting with Esmeralda, which is the name of our house. She is, oh, we love you, girl. We love you. The process of like connecting with her and Beth getting a name for her and helping us to really like understand who we were living in, it really transformed the way that we move through our day and connect with our house. Um, and I don't know. I mean, there's so many like little details and little things, because like essentially what Beth did was she went through our house, and she um, read for the energy that was going on. You received some downloads, some information around the house, the different rooms, what was going on there. And some of it was really clear, really concise, and others it was like, what does this mean? I don't know. And but then as we talked through the different things that came through, and especially when you worked on the outside of the house, I think that was in some ways even more like fascinating, because of what was going on in the area around our house and some of the energies that were trapped here. And it was just really wild to have the synchronicities of like things that we'd experienced, and then information that came through, things that we hadn't talked to you about, hadn't shared, but you picked up on those energies that came through. And so the information that came through is fascinating. The understandings that helped us to get. But I think one of the biggest things that I appreciated from the process and that we got was understanding what the house needed from us in our moving process. Because, as I'm sure many of you know who have worked on a move and have relocated, like, there can be a billion things that you could do, but what is needed, what is necessary, what is going to be beneficial to you. And this is one way of getting that insight, of asking the house itself, like, what does the house need from us before we leave? And one of the things, the house wanted gutters, and we just, I don't know, 6 weeks ago, a month ago, just got those gutters. So that was like one of the big things that we needed to deal with, and that we needed to help the house with, and we did that. And so feeling even more ready to move at this point. But I'm just like blabbering away. Beth, take the floor. What stood out to you, or what are those moments that you feel like would be helpful in kind of explaining the process and helping people to understand how you work?
Yeah, so I think the most fun thing about the whole experience, in the beginning part of it, when I was working with your current home, is Esmerelda is quite spicy, and she has quite a personality, and it's a big personality. And I didn't expect that necessarily. But it was so much fun to meet her and interact with her. And I talked to my car too. I have a car named Bella, a car named George. And I just released Bella to a new owner. I was so happy about that. But anyway, I digress. Esmeralda has quite a personality. And I think what we don't always remember, and something I learned through the energy work, is how everything has consciousness. And we know that, but do we always apply it? Well, we're not taught to think that way. So it's a whole restructuring of how you perceive things and walk through the world. And like Jake said, how he interacts with the house now, and how Corbin interacts with the house now. And it's a different thing when you meet the home and you understand, oh, my home has a name, it has a personality, it has dreams and hopes and desires. And in Jake and Corbin's case, and in my case too, their home is a turn of the century home, and my home is 1870. So it's even a little older than that. And when you step back and you think about how many generations have lived in that structure, how much energy is left behind. And if people aren't aware and don't know to pull their energy out of a home as they leave, because I feel that's a responsible, ethical practice. If you are going to move, whether it's moving apartments or moving homes, I feel like we have a responsibility to clear our energy out of that home for the next person, and there could be exceptions to that. I mean, maybe your child is going to take over the home and they want your energy there, or maybe you're assuming a home for a relative that's passed on, and it's comforting. I have a dear friend whose mother passed away, and I was going to do some work for her, and she said, "Don't clear mom out of here." And I said, "I absolutely won't." Of course I would never do that. And her mother came through very strongly, was flickering lights for me to let me know she was there, which was pretty cool. But yeah, so that whole consciousness is, like Jake said, we live within that, because that home is built around us. It's, we live within it. So, it's almost like we are the child of the home in a way, because we're living and growing within it. So that's just another reason why you want to consciously think about that. And if you have an argument, for example, in your home, or you have some strong words that are exchanged, Think about that, because your home may have never been cleansed. And if it's an old home, there's could be a lot of stuff left behind. And I'm not saying that Mother Nature doesn't cleanse spaces in her own way, with the wind, with the sun, with the rain.
Mhm.
I believe Mother Earth has her own process, and she's supporting us at all times in this work. However, if we can be conscious co-conspirators in it, and we can participate, and we can lend our energy and our pure intention to the process, we can amplify the results that we get by manyfold, I believe. And if we consciously, like I started to say, if you have an argument or some strong words are exchanged, or something just happened that just didn't feel good, maybe even an accident, maybe somebody tripped and fell down a few of the stairs in your home or something, there's a resonance there. There's something left behind. And you don't have to get fancy. You don't have to buy a bunch of materials. I mean, I have all kinds of tools that I do use, but just by setting your intent and stopping and putting your hand on your heart, connecting for a moment and asking, please clear this energy, you can do a lot just with that. Our intention is much more powerful than we realize, right? But then if
Mhm.
you take it another step, like I have a candle lit right now, I had Palo Santo that I was burning earlier. Jake and I said, a little intention before we started the show. I mean, this is all setting the table, setting the container for what you want to achieve. So that kind of brings me to what I started to say in the very beginning of the show, and that is, so we're approaching holiday season. And holiday season, for good, bad, or ugly, comes with family members usually. Maybe not now. I mean, since we went through 2020 and that experience, family has changed significantly, I think. And for a lot of people in our community, I know I've seen in chats and have talked to other people who have experienced, some differences in how family interacts. But now it seems like family, we're starting to make a turn a little bit, and things are starting to come back together, and people are starting to communicate a little more. And at least that's the trend that I've seen and have been picking up on. I'm not saying that is the case for everyone, but as we do that and we start to come back into our shared spaces, and we come back into bringing family together in our homes during holiday time, I know out there in our community, not everybody has a pleasant holiday experience. And I know a lot of people sometimes will go to a family gathering with a little bit of a knot in their stomach because they're not sure how it's going to go. They don't know if they're going to feel welcome. They don't know if they're going to feel accepted. They don't know if some past angst is still there with another person, or if that person has let it go. So holidays are loaded experiences for many reasons, and they're not the Hallmark movies that we see every year. I personally, I struggle to sit through a Hallmark movie because I can't relate. But um, and that's not to say that my family experiences are all bad. That is
Mhm.
not what I mean. I just sometimes the Hallmark movies are a little too Pollyanna for me. That's all I'm going to say. But my point is that as we approach these events, okay, especially if you're the one hosting and it's going to be in your home, I can tell you, because I've done it, you can impact that energy. You can set up what you want with your intent, and you will be surprised. You'll be surprised if you really truly go in with an open heart and you intend to bring peaceful, harmonious, whatever. You can do that. You really can do that. And it can surprise you at the end result. Um, Either way, you may choose to set a boundary in your home and say, I refuse to, I'm just going to make something up. I refuse to allow the frequency of alcohol in my house. Okay, I'm just making something up. You could set that boundary. And if you really set that boundary, sit back for a month and watch what traffic comes and goes in your house and what doesn't. And it might surprise you. So know that you have you have some say in this. You have some control in this. There's some things that you can do to set a space up for success if you want. When you have people coming, you could impact the energy in a bedroom. If you know you have family members coming and they're going to spend the night and you're a little concerned, how's this going to go? You can set a container in that bedroom and you can, set up some energies the way you want. And you can maybe tuck some crystals in different places and, hold your crystals and put an intention in the crystal and set it up. And Jake, I don't know if this is a good time or not, but maybe I could do just a quick demonstration with Corbin's chair. And we can all, if anybody in the audience wants to join, and I don't have my phone. Can you tell me what the 2 words that Corbin wanted? I think it was tranquility and
I think universal love.
Universal love, tranquility and universal love. So Corbin, I asked Corbin earlier because I wanted to just kind of do a quick and easy demonstration of how simple this could be. I'm just lighting my Palo Santo stick. Yeah. So I asked Corbin, it's the chair that he works in. Is it the same as the one you're sitting in, Jake?
No.
Like he has a matching chair? No,
it's like a black office chair.
A black office chair. Okay. So if anybody wants to join, what we're going to do is tranquility and what was the other part, Jake?
Universal love.
Universal love and tranquility. So I'm just clearing the space. Okay. And I'm going to just use my pendulum. Yeah. And Jake, thank you for that. Let's just if everyone would just take a deep breath, put your hand on your heart. And I'm just going to use my pendulum to send the energy. And if we all would just agree and join together and send that intention to Corbin's chair. And then maybe in a week or so, we'll ask Corbin to report back. Mm-hmm. Oh, the pendulum really likes our energy. That's beautiful. Okay, we're just going to intend, keep thinking those words in your mind. And I'm going to add a little dash of success in there. I don't think Corbin will mind. Thank you, Jake. Another deep breath. Hold it. Slow exhale. Perfect. Okay, and the pendulum is winding down, so it's completing its work. It's saying yes. Okay. So it can be something as simple as that. So what will be the impact? We will let Jake and Corbin report back to us.
Yeah.
Maybe in the next show that we do, or
we got lunar cycles next Monday, so we could do it we could try to remember to do it then.
Yeah, whatever works. And we'll just see what Corbin experiences. Maybe he will notice something. He may not notice anything, but he might. And so we are just sending that love and that intention into his chair. And that's the chair that he sits in when he does his work every day. So that's a beautiful intention to be held by that type of energy. And for all of you out there, know that you can do something very similar. Like in your bedroom, you could literally, before you go to bed, take a moment, take a couple deep breaths, put the intention to put the arms of the universe wrap around you while you sleep. Something comforting like that, especially in this holiday time. Yeah. So, Corbin, thank you for letting me use your chair as my example tonight. I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Excited to hear what, if anything, he experiences. I certainly have felt shifts and changes since you did the work on my chair. And I think it definitely helped to support me in different ways and unique ways.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Right. And thank you to everyone else who helped out as well.
Yes, very much.
And that universal love. We definitely and Corbin appreciates it. So, um,
We're so much stronger together.
oh yeah, and that's why I love the like group experiences and the group workshops and the group events and gatherings. I just think that there is such power in getting together. And yes, like physical presence is wonderful and great, but when we can't have that, or when that's not possible, when we're spread out across the globe, getting together in the quantum energetically, I think is the next best thing for sure. Um, I what was I going to say? Oh, well, thank you, Emma, for that reminder. Yes, please hit the like button, share, and subscribe because, yeah, we're having a fun time here. I I wanted to just backtrack because I am also with Pumpkin Spice Princess here. She says, I'm addicted to Hallmark. I don't have the same experiences. They help me fantasize and spiritually release.
That's
And
beautiful.
I
Yeah.
love that. Yeah, PSP, Corbin and I we definitely love our Hallmark movies too. So you're not alone in that. There is something about the fantasy of it. And sure, it's like very unrealistic in so many ways, but I think that that's part of the charm of it. And Corbin and I recently have been addicted to Good Witch, the Hallmark original series. They did like 7 movies and then a full 5 seasons of TV and 5 new other movies. I mean, it's just a whole big thing. And we're just discovering it now. And it's that same Hallmark feel, except she's a witch. And so it's even better. It's just so good. So just wanted to go back and say, don't worry if you don't agree with Beth on that one.
Right, right. Well, that goes back to the beauty of we're all different. It just doesn't resonate for me, but I know many people. I have a lot of good girlfriends that they love it. When they have their pajama parties for Hallmark, I just don't go. It just doesn't work for me. But yeah, no dissing on anybody that likes Hallmark.
Yeah.
And since Emma popped up, Jake, let me share a little bit because I did ask Emma's permission too. To share a little bit. Emma in the chat. Hi, Emma in the chat. Emma also asked me to do some work on her home, and that was also incredibly fascinating. Emma ended up very entwined in that and completing work that kind of began when I worked on the house, and it was fascinating. And we met her home spirit, Helen. Helen was a bird spirit, which was really cool, different than what I experienced with Jake, but very present and very just magical. Like there's just a magical quality in that whole experience. And the spirit had been in the house. I can't remember. Emma, if you want to say anything in the chat, I can't remember the details of, I just remember Helen had lived there and there was interaction with a man that she lived with. And I should have pulled the notes up, but there was, Helen needed to be released, basically released her energy from that home. And my deep sense was that Emma was there in the 1960s. Okay. Thank you, Emma. Couldn't remember. But Emma was very involved in that, and she has carried on work and just recently shared a beautiful photo of me and let me know that Helen was checking in. And it was just beautiful and very magical. And I do believe that Emma's part of her soul contract maybe was to be there in that house and allow her energy and her work to help to release that spirit. And I had a similar experience in my own home. There was a former owner, and it was a man, and his energy showed itself. I mean, not literally showed itself, but made me aware of it. And I did some work to help that energy to go, and there was a shift. And so it's interesting over that length of time, how many energies have gathered in the home and how many experiences have occurred, and what has transpired and what might be lingering. Yeah, there's a lot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I was going to pull up um, this comment from Pumpkin Spice Princess, because she said, my daughter spent a week here recently temporarily. I cleared the space, asked for protection, set out crystals, and cleansed when she left. It was so much more peaceful this time around. And I wanted to
Beautiful.
share too, because what Corbin had said around our experience after you did the energy work on our home was, it was so much more quiet. Like, you guys, so for context, Corbin and I live in like 7 minutes, 6 minutes outside of downtown Minneapolis, Minnesota. Minneapolis is part of the Twin Cities. It is a very sprawling metropolitan area. And we live in one of the more rowdy, is the polite term to use, rowdy neighborhoods. And we have experienced lots and lots of noise since we moved in. I mean, we live kitty corner to a school. We have these townhouse like condos across the street from us. The car traffic through is just wild. There's always stuff going on. And literally, like, as when we came back from leaving the house when Beth did the work, we walked back into the house and immediately could feel and see and hear the difference. Like, it was noticeably quieter in the home. And since then it's maintained. I mean, sure, there's noisy moments, but in general, like, the sounds from outside is so much more calm. And beyond that, some of the more wild experiences that we had, I mean, in the first couple of years we lived here, people coming onto our property just randomly. There was people who crashed their car, like kids who stole a car, they crashed it into our neighbor's house. I mean, there was just like wild stuff that happened. And since then, it has just been so much more calm. And I think that, yeah, I just wanted to mention that before we got too far past like our story and our experience, because it really was like so many different levels and layers of change that happened. Corbin was talking about the work that we did in the yard and how you helped us to figure out how to place our crystals in a grid around the home and really anchor in that protection. And beyond that, helped us when we had to cut down some trees in working with those tree spirits, and really helped both of us, because we were just not happy about having to cut these trees down, but the city told us we had to. There wasn't a whole lot we could do because they would just fine us and bill us if we didn't do it. And so it was definitely like tough on us, and we didn't want to do it, but we needed to. And so it really helped to have Beth's support through that process, to be able to have some insight and some guidance on what to do and how to navigate that situation. It was really, I mean, again, like each step of the way, it was beautiful, and it was not what we expected. And like the care that Beth put in, the care and the love and the intention that you put into your work is, I mean, I wouldn't have just anyone on my channel. You guys know that I only have the best here. And so yeah, it was PSP. It was really crazy, and I'm very glad that we have calmed things down. And we have a comment from Emma saying, yes, I think some of us are here to help rescue lost souls and help them move on after traumatic events. Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely.
I think we know on this channel that there are no coincidences or accidents. You don't end up in a house by accident. You're there for one reason or another. And sometimes it is helping a spirit move on. And if you're in this community, probably more than one of you have had that experience of helping a spirit move on or transition. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like we could probably talk a whole show about just our experiences with the spirit world, and you with your work, me with my work. I mean, there's definitely some fascinating and unique experiences. I mean, I feel like no two experiences are really the same, whether it be with hypnosis and working in trance, or I mean, I imagine with house energy work too. Like, no two houses are the same, no two people are the same.
No, in fact, um, one person that I worked with, and I shared just a little bit about this earlier with you, Jake, was that I had reached out to another person that I had worked with her land and said, do you want me to share? And we both kind of took some time to think about it, because I had a kind of a back and forth feeling about it, and she did too. And we determined that the land was asking for the privacy. The land did not want its information disclosed. And so we, of course, are going to honor that. That land is a very sacred land, clearly. And there's a lot of deep work still to be done. And so the owner and I have collaborated, and even more recently, more things have come to light. And so that process and that particular situation is an ongoing, unfolding. There's some very particular ancestry and people involved that have been on that land in the past. And it's very layered and very complex, but the land itself wanted the privacy. And I thought that was fascinating. And I was so honored to be able to work with that land and to ongoing work with that land some more. And I have no doubt that at some point that will be something to be shared, because I think whatever is to occur is going to be profound. And I'm getting chills. It's, whoa, my goodness, really big chills. It's a very sacred, is just the word I keep getting, very sacred space. And the owner is a very, very tapped in soul who the land had shared with me has been here, like basically from the beginning, has done it all. This particular woman that I work with. And yeah, chills too, Emma. Emma's land is also very special. I didn't get quite as deep Emma's land, and what occurred during that experience was very specific and very geared to Helen. And there were some really interesting things that came through that as I went through the different rooms and spaces and the outdoors, there was just so many interesting things. I miss you, Emma. We'll have to get together. But Helen was fascinating, and that was a whole experience. And then this other sacred land, it's a totally different thing. Like every experience has been very unique and very specific in some ways. And there's just so much. You're right, Jake. It could be multiple shows just trying to get through the experience. But what I can say is that it's an honor. I know some people are more connected to galactic and cosmic energies. And Jake, we've talked about, you're very much, and we've talked in the past about the differences. And my work seems to be very grounded and earth-based. And the earth, it's very much a part of this with me. And I'm still understanding the earth as a being and the earth energies. And there's so much there, because there's so much that we don't even understand yet about our earth. And the only thing I really know for sure is that I don't know for sure anything. And that's the only thing I'm absolutely sure about, is that I don't know. That's what I know for sure. I don't know. Because, there are many people out there saying it's this, it's that, there's this channeler, that channeler, the other channeler. Oh, I'd love it, Emma. And there's, every channeler has their own version of what's going on. And I think every single channeler is probably correct, because they have their interpretation and it fits a certain timeline or experience or group of people that resonate. And then we're over here having a different experience in our little group, and things resonate differently for us. And I think it's all true. That's what I think. It's probably all true in a given timeline or dimension. And this is why I can't I can't get into the competition anymore, and I can't get into the polarity anymore, because I think it's all things all at once. It's and the more time goes by, the more it bends and twists my mind to try to understand. All I know is that there's just so much more. And what it is, like, I'm fascinated. I'm so curious to see how all of this unfolds. And, like, you've done so many cool shows on Three Eye Atlas, Jake, and how that's going to unfold, and how is that going to impact our earth energy, and what is Three Eye Atlas impact going to be on Gaia's energy as it makes its closest, like, what does that look like?
Mm-hmm.
It's fascinating. It's
Oh yeah,
just,
it really is. Hello to Auntie Leah in the chat. Speaking of wonderful people that I've had on my channel, you need to come back soon. But Leah saying, agreed, we all do it differently. There's no right or wrong. Thank you for saying that. And I really think it
oh yeah.
bears repeating. I
Hi,
think
Leah.
more of us need to talk about that, because we are moving out of that duality and that black and
Mhm.
white, and that and it's not that it doesn't still exist and that it doesn't still have effects on us, because we are still a part of this collective reality, but the shift is happening, and I think so many of us can see that and can feel that. And so then it makes it even harder, I think, at times um to hold strong in that, in the world that we live in. And so I think that that's where getting quiet, tuning out the distractions, turning something off if it's causing you distress, or it's um, you know making you question your own intuition and your own knowing, like, don't listen to that then. And not in like a bad way. I mean, I think stretching your mind and listening to different opinions is good, but if you're not resonating with something, that's okay. And that's, I think, the beauty um, of human existence, is we're here to experience the full spectrum, and that includes disagreements with people and having different perceptions. And I see this in my work, because sometimes when people, especially when we're looking at the future, but future, past, doesn't matter, people can get really hung up on the details of, like, well, that was a past life in Atlantis, where does that fit in the timeline, and does that match up with what this person said and that person said? And one of my favorite things that Dolores Cannon would talk about with her clients, and the discrepancies between the information that would come through about these topics, especially collective things. She said, you know, if you took 100 people across the United States right now and you interviewed them and you asked them all the same questions, you would get 100 different answers. You would get 100 different perceptions of how the world is, what's going on, different levels of understanding and insight. And I mean, it just makes so much sense that uh, we all have our own unique perspective and our own unique worldview, and that's as it should be. That's why we're here, to experience individuality. And I think that the more that we can celebrate those differences and seek to understand, rather than getting in fights about it, like, I think that will help. And it's hard to do. I mean, we have really strong egos that can definitely take the reins at times. But well, thank you, and hello, Stephanie. Good to see you. I love that. So true.
Yeah, I think if we can just leave room and just leave space, that something else could also be true. Just how do I want to say it? I'm not, the right words aren't coming, but I guess just leave room. Leave room for it. Leave
Mhm.
room that, okay, I'm willing to realize that I can't know all these things at the same time. Or I don't know. I'm not doing that justice right now. The words I had left because I was so
Oh,
in tune with what you were saying. But that's okay.
no, I really think that there is there's so much wisdom and value in allowance, and you don't have to agree at the end of the day, but leaving that space and allowing for the dynamic expression of humanity, I think is part of what we're being called to. I mean, this came through in the future session that I did just a couple weeks ago. This idea of like difference is only going to grow as we expand our awareness beyond this dimension and this plane. I mean, I one of my favorite things to say, because you guys know I'm gay. I'm part of the LGBTQ community, and maybe some of you don't love the alphabet soup of it all, but that's the name that we have for this group of us. And some people have problems with trans people, and I certainly think it is a nuanced subject for sure. But one of my favorite things to say is like, do you think that all the aliens are male, female? Because I don't think they are. I really don't think they are.
Right.
And I think the more that we can open our minds to the expansive reality that the cosmos is starting to show us it is, I mean, I just think it'll benefit all of us in the end. And I think that the more we can lead with love, the better. And whether that's with the people that are around us or the objects around us, right? I mean, to bring it back home to the home and to the spaces around us. I think about like growing up, I remember one time where my dad punched a hole in the wall because he was just like angry and he punched the wall rather than anything else or anyone else, which was ultimately probably for the best. But he also like hurt his hand and also like punched a hole in the drywall. But that sort of like anger outburst, it's the same thing with like, well, I guess I'll use a personal example. A couple months ago, I was like in an angry fit and I threw a mug into the sink, and it didn't shatter miraculously, but it did dent the sink. And I'm saying all this because I think the ways that we treat the objects around us and our physical home presence, whatever it is, the objects that we have in our home, I think that we could use a little bit more consciousness in that, in those relationships. I don't really know why I went on that tangent, but I guess I needed to say that.
Yeah, it's okay. It all fits into the topic. And I think just being in a state of greater awareness, if everyone watching just walks away with a state of a little bit greater awareness for their home. And I would invite you, if you are interested, I'm sure Jake can put my email in the comment section.
Yep.
The work that I do is very personal and one-on-one. I don't have a big website or anything like that. I just work with people directly. They reach out to me through email and I set up a meeting and we talk. And I just kind of get to know you and see what it is that I can do or what you're interested in doing. And I can tell you whether I think I can do something about it. And if we do, then I do the work and then we reconvene after the fact and I debrief you on what I experienced and what messages came through and what I got that might be helpful. And then your job is to sift through that and make sense of it if you can, because sometimes it makes zero sense to me. Specifically, one thing when I was working with Jake and Corbin, I got 101 Dalmatians and it had nothing to do with the house, but they had been talking about 101 Dalmatians right before we got on our call. And so I had no way of knowing that. And I said to them, this is really weird, but I got 101 Dalmatians. And so that was really interesting. But anyway, yes, if you're interested or you want to reach out, please do. Even if you just want to send me an email about the show or you have a question, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm happy to connect. And yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I definitely encourage you guys, if you are looking for some energetic support, Beth is the one to seek it from. We had not only like a wonderful time like working with Beth, but obviously like our relationship has grown since, and now we're friends too.
Yeah.
But highly recommend Beth's services, and like she said, it is very individualized to you. So it really resonates with the work I do, because no two sessions are the same. And I think that that's as it should be, because that means that we're working with you. We're working with your individual energy and your soul essence. And I think that we're moving more in that direction and more away from the prescribed, cookie cutter sort of approaches. Anyway, this comment from Jody. I love it. I make myself laugh sometimes. If
Oh,
I bump the table too hard, I apologize to it. And I love that.
that's sweet.
Yeah, I think that is what more of us should be doing. And PSP here saying that she apologizes to her house as well and cleanses that energy. I love it. Okay, well, before we go, want to remind you guys, yes, I saw in the chat that you guys were chatting about the gratitude gathering that is coming up on Saturday, the 29th, 7 p.m. So this coming Saturday, we're just a few days away. Grab your ticket if you haven't already. A free event. We'll be gathering, having some Soul Tribe community sharing, a little meditation that I will guide you guys through. And it's going to be a good time, especially if you do have a tough time around the holidays or you're looking for a bright spot in this season. It's sure to be high vibe. It's going to be a great time. We're going to have fun. So I definitely encourage you guys to join. And if you can't make it, or if you are looking for something else to join us in the group energy, I'm doing this Connect with the Fairies live Zoom event coming up, workshop in December. It's going to be December 13th, 7 p.m. And you can find more information about that on my bookings page. And I'll be sharing a little bit more as we get closer. But wanted to make it really affordable, just $11.11 for the ticket for this event. Going to be about 90 minutes, and we'll be connecting you with the fairies. So if you vibe with the fairy energy, if you're interested in that, or if you're looking for just a little bit of fun and whimsy in the season, I think it's going to be a great time. I have been brainstorming and dreaming up what I want to do for the event. So I've been having a lot of fun with it. I do also want to pop up my website quick, remind you guys to head on over here for more information about my services. And if you go to the bookings page, you will see that I do indeed have 10% off of my future services, as well as my QHHT sessions at the moment. So if you're interested in some future visioning and getting some insight from your future self, from future timelines that you could potentially take, I definitely encourage you book that session now for that 10% off. And if you're not sure what to book, you can always do that free consultation and we can chat, and I can help you decide what will be the best option for you. And then just a reminder about the bookings for the group events. Just click in there and you'll see the time, and real easy to get your ticket for both of those events. Okay. I love it. Yeah, watch from the beginning. I feel like this show is right up your alley as well. Yes, fairies in the chat. Fairies in the chat. Okay, Beth, any closing remarks? Anything that we didn't touch on that you want to sneak in here at the last moment? Or any parting words for our friends in the audience?
I hope to connect with some of you. I think it would be a lot of fun. I do have some space open in December. So if you are in need of some support and some help, please do reach out.
Did you want to mention your special?
Oh, yes, I should mention this special. So I was going to do a special for the rest of November and December, $88 to work on a space. We'll pick a specific space and we'll work on your space and set it up for whatever you're looking for, whether it's you want to work on a chair or your office like we did for Corbin, or if you want to work on a bedroom, or you want to work on your dining space, if you're going to have a holiday meal gathering and you want to set up a specific energy, feel free to reach out. Or if you want to just do something personal for yourself, I call it prison to palace. We can work on, maybe your bedroom, or you have a space where you meditate, or, that kind of place. I know, people have been separated from each other. And so that's why I named it Prison to Palace, because we've been, we've kind of been taken away from our tribe and now we need to come back. So we want to create that sacred space for ourselves to have that rejuvenation. So we want to make it a palace, not a prison, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Wonderful.
yeah.
Yeah. So definitely reach out to Beth if you want to snag that deal. Definitely a good call. And whether it be personal or for your family or for your friends or whoever's coming over, definitely encourage you. And as Emma says, this has been a lovely chat. And I also can't wait to see Beth back for part two.
Wow.
So like I said at the beginning, we are planning another show for December. So we'll keep you guys in the loop on that, of course. And I definitely I see some more shows in our future, Beth. I think
Yeah.
we'll be having you back.
Sounds good.
All right. And yes, thank you for sharing your stories and wisdom. And thank you to all of you in the chat, for everyone who has popped in live. Thank you to everyone watching on replay. We love you all. And we're
Mhm.
grateful for your energy and your support, and for you spending your time with us, because I know time is valuable. And it's really wonderful to get together and be in these high vibes together. So thank
Yeah.
you all. Thank you, Beth. And
Thank you.
absolutely. Absolutely. All right. We'll see y'all later, and hope to see most of you at the gratitude gathering on
Mhm.
Saturday. All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye.